So I'd like to welcome everyone on behalf of the Arizona Parent Family Coalition and the Northern Arizona Parent Family Coalition. And this is a subject that's dear to my heart, so I'm looking forward to hearing everyone.
All right, thank you, Kathy. So I'd like to introduce our presenters, and I'll start with Shannon LaValle. Shannon is the Client Services Manager for NACOG Aging, the area agency on aging, I'm sorry, in Northern Arizona. She's been with NACOG for 3 years, has over 16 years of human services and social work experience. Shannon has a Master of Science degree in counseling psychology and has worked with diverse populations in California and Arizona. She is grateful to be working with the older adults and striving to fulfill NACOG Aging mission. NACOG Aging provides answers on aging through resources, services, and advocacy. We're all big on advocacy. Shannon, would you like to add anything to that?
There's a little bit more about our services in the presentation, so I'm good for now. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So also I'd like to welcome Joella Willie. Joella is the Community Program Coordinator for the Northern Arizona University Center for Services and Volunteerism, where she oversees 3 AmeriCorps senior programs in West Yavapai County. She moved to Prescott in 1971 from Michigan, where she attended Central Michigan University, continued her education at Yavapai College, graduated from Prescott College in 1983 with a BA in management and a minor in English and Human Services. Then she pursued a postgraduate degree at NAU in public administration. Throughout the years, she was self-employed, worked in government and nonprofit arenas, raised 4 children, and retired from the city of Prescott after serving 8 years as the magistrate court mayor, council and city manager offices, and 13 years as director of the adult center at Prescott as a city employee on loan to a nonprofit corporation. After the passing of her husband in 2002, Joella moved to Phoenix in 2006, became a property manager for a retirement housing foundation at Stone Creek Village, a 40-unit independent living apartment complex architecturally designed for mobility and sensory impaired individuals 18 years or better. On November 3rd, 2018, she officially retired. Excuse me, she officially retired from that position and rejoined NAU November 6, 2018, in the same position that she had held 12 years earlier. That's like coming full circle, huh?
Full circle.
Joella states, my heart has always been devoted to public service, and working with volunteers has always been my reward. I'm delighted to be back working with NAU and sharing the programs that support a great team of volunteers serving our communities. Would you like to add anything to that, Joella, as far as your bio?
It's very long and long enough. Thank you.
Okay, all right. And I just want to make a little side note here. I met Joella and Shannon at a conference 2 weeks ago, and on very short notice, they agreed to participate and present at this Mental Health Monday today because the presenter who had been scheduled had a medical situation that prevented him from being able to present today. So thank you, ladies, both. We're delighted to have you here. With that said, Shannon has a PowerPoint on NACOG, and we'll let you go ahead and share your screen. And if anyone has questions while she's presenting, just go right ahead, raise your hand, unmute yourself, and ask.
Thank you. And if I don't call on you in a timely manner, please feel free to interrupt me with questions. Sometimes I might not see the chat.
Well, Kathy and I might help out with that.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's see if I can get this shared. Okay. Okay, can you see the full screen slide?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
All right, I can skip this first one. Lori gave a nice introduction, so you already know who I am. And I can send these out by email too. If anyone's interested in having a copy of the slides, just let me know. So a little background on what an area agency on aging is. Well, there's more than 600 in the United States. Every state has their own area agencies on aging, or AAA for short. There are 8 AAAs in Arizona. NACOG Aging is the largest geographically. We don't have the most clients, but we have the most land space in the United States. So we cover a lot of areas, a lot of rural areas. We have offices here in Prescott, which is where I am, in Show Low, Flagstaff, and Cottonwood. And we cover Coconino County, Apache, Navajo, and Yavapai counties, other than tribal lands. There are tribal AAAs. Our mission, which was also in my bio, is to provide answers on aging through resources, services, and advocacy. And we work with adults over the age of 60. We work with a small percentage of adults under the age of 60 with a disability. That's a different funding source that's not as big as our main funding source, which is the Older Americans Act. So most of our clients are over 60. We also work with family caregivers of any age over 18. And one of our programs that we'll talk about works with people who reside in assisted living or skilled nursing facilities or other congregate type living facilities and situations. Just kind of a snapshot of the growth of the older adult population in Arizona. Some of you may know that people over the age of 65 are the largest growing population in the United States. I think it's about 10,000 people per day are turning 65. Lori?
Shannon, this is Lori. I have a question. When you're looking at these population figures, do you have any separate statistic or ballpark figure on how many would be involved with the behavioral health system, be it SMI or general mental health or substance?
I don't. I know the 2020 census is putting out information, but I've tried to look on their website, and it's very complicated on how to get the specific statistics that you want. It's probably out there somewhere, and I'd be happy to research it, but I don't have it offhand.
Okay, well, this is helpful to see what you are providing. Thank you.
So the ones with stars next to them are the counties that we cover. So you can see that kind of currently the populations are pretty high, especially in Yavapai County. 33% of residents are over the age of 65 currently. And then projected the growth you can see here on the very right hand side. Yavapai County has the largest population out of all the counties with the current and the growth. So just some issues that our clients, I don't want to say commonly, because what is commonly, but we see these situations and these issues fairly often. So having polypharmacy, which is having several different medications for the same or different issues going on, can cause interactions with the side effects there, or with the medications and interacting with each other, and then side effects as well. And some clients have several different doctors that don't always communicate, and they may be experiencing a side effect from one medication and then given another medication to treat that side effect, and get a new side effect and given another medication to treat that side effect. So sometimes that will cause more problems than what it should. UTIs or urinary tract infections can cause symptoms similar to dementia in some cases. So it can cause severe confusion, you know, thinking that you're somewhere where you're not. And those can often go untreated. People may think it's something going on cognitively when in fact it's a UTI, and sometimes they are very difficult to treat. Sometimes antibiotics might not touch them, or they're chronic or recurring. So that's something that we need to look out for. Housing concerns is huge, especially here in Yavapai County. We have had several apartments that were maybe income based for seniors who are on a set income, going to regular market price, and pricing out our clients. They're not able to live there anymore because they can't afford it. They're on the fixed income, and there's not really typically anywhere else to go because of wait lists, or housing developments not taking low income applicants.
So do we have people in this age category that are homeless and on the streets in Prescott and in our communities?
Yes, and it's I don't want to say it's the largest growing population of people who are homeless, but it could be.
I mean, I see all the other, especially the young people, they're very visible, but this population, it just really breaks my heart because it's the end of all ends.
Right, and there aren't fast and easy answers.
So then we don't really have transportation for them. So how are they getting around as far as food and social services, and are they hanging certain places for?
Yeah, some are living in cars in the forest, or couch surfing, staying with friends. There are a couple places that we refer to. House of Hope is a big one, but there's only so much room for people. Some clients are able to, and we can't, because of HIPAA, we can't refer people to meet up with each other, but they can have roommates. Sometimes it's trickier than that because there are hoarding situations, which make it difficult to find a new place because they have many possessions, and it's hard to move. It's hard to pack up your things and move when you have physical limitations or cognitive limitations. So there are no perfect answers. And there may be cheaper housing, down in the valley, but how do you get there? How do you pack up your stuff? How do you move it? And we don't have all the answers for that. We do have an intake or information and referral line that I'm going to talk about. We do have some resources, but sometimes we just have to, maybe refer to a shelter. Or do you have any family? Do you have family that you haven't talked to for many years that we can help you reach out to that maybe can help? That's a very difficult topic. And then, of course, Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. We provide services in home. And another difficult area is when someone is not able to safely stay home anymore, but they don't have enough money to pay for an assisted living facility or a memory care facility. Usually what we'll do in that case is suggest they apply for long-term care, Altex, Arizona Long-Term Care System. And
well, let's stop. Another question, because I've dealt with this and it's absolutely impossible. I've talked to the emergency rooms, and I just had a friend recently die. it was one failure after another, from doctors getting records to Altex. It was mind-boggling.
I'm, yeah,
I guess that you run into this quite
absolutely.
a lot. It's
Absolutely.
unreal.
The standard to qualify for Altex has become significantly more difficult recently. Usually they have to qualify financially and medically or physically. Usually the financial is okay. It's I don't want to say it's not a big deal, but it's easier to pass that one because a lot of our clients are on a very low fixed income and their finances are not an issue in the qualification. Or if they do have some money, they could spend it down on their care, or they can do a Miller's trust. You know, there's options for the finances. But for medical, they have to have a score of 60. And people who we think, you know, that are bedbound, basically, they maybe sometimes might score a 40 or a 50 because they don't have the right answers, or typically now they're doing the medical pass over the phone. So they're not seeing these people that they're qualifying or denying the service. So, you know, people are proud. And if you call them on the phone and you say, are you able to get to the bathroom on your own? Oh, yes, no problem. And that's probably not the case. Their caregiver is going to say that's not the case. But the Altex person on the phone is going to take what they hear from the client. So one thing we recommend for the Altex application is to call Jackson White. They are a law firm out of Mesa, but they cover this area, and they do a free pre-screening over the phone where they will tell you, yes, you will likely qualify, and of course they can't guarantee it, or no, you're probably not going to qualify at this time. And I can provide, Melissa Henack is with Jackson White. I don't know if any of you have talked to her before. She's phenomenal. She's in the Prescott area, and she will do presentations about it. If anyone needs more information, I can share that. But yes, Altex is difficult. So you have people who really are not safe to be at home, but they don't qualify for Altex yet. So what happens? It's a impossible situation at some time. So we have some services I'm going to talk about that can help sort of bridge that gap. But it's not a perfect answer. So other issues, ADL, activities of daily living barriers. So difficulty walking, difficulty preparing food, shopping, things like that, whether it be because of mental health issues, physical issues, cognitive issues, lack of medical and or behavioral supports. So not only is it sometimes difficult, especially here in Prescott, the medical provider network is limited. A lot of clients or people prefer to go down to Phoenix for medical support. And then there's that transportation piece of it. How are you going to get there? So that's a barrier, an issue that we see. And then limited social supports and isolation. Joella's program helps with that. I'm sure she'll talk about that. But some people live alone and they don't have neighbors. They might not have any family nearby or at all. And isolation is it can be worse than a physical illness. Can cause a lot of issues. And then caregiver burnout is another issue. Family caregivers, they're on 24/7. They don't typically get a break. So I'm going to talk about some services that we have for that too. Any questions on this slide? No. Okay. So what can we do for our clients that are in crisis? Some preventative measures that we take, our case managers make twice yearly home visits, and we do quarterly check-ins. And typically it's more than that. The clients have their case manager's phone numbers. A lot of them have my phone number. They can call us anytime. We meet with our service providers. So those are the people who are actually going out and doing the work, the in-home direct care workers, the Meals on Wheels providers.
Shannon,
Yes.
what ratio of case manager to clients do you have?
For full-time case managers, 100 is the max. 100 people on their caseload. Some of them take more, but I try to keep them at 100 or less, so everyone can get quality care. We do have some part-time case managers too, and they're usually around 60 or 80 people, depending on their hours. So yes, we meet with the service providers quarterly, and we maintain communication with them about any issues that they are seeing because they're going in the home more often than we are. For Meals on Wheels recipients, they're getting that wellness check Monday through Friday when their meals are delivered. So the Meals on Wheels service providers and drivers, volunteer drivers, are required to not just drop off the meal, but to do a wellness check, say hello, make sure they're doing okay, see them, have eyes on. Most of our case managers are trained in mental health first aid. That was an optional training we did, but most of them did participate in that. And me as well. Most of the case managers carry Narcan. We make sure we pick that up so they have it just in case. And we've had recent training on how to use it and what it's for. Case managers and most of our staff are mandated reporters. And we make appropriate reports to APS, and we meet with the APS staff quarterly as well to discuss any cases or any issues that are going on. Or any resources that they might have. Recently, we did a training with Arizona Care First. Did I put that in there? Maybe I didn't. Not
Arizona
Care
Complete
First,
Health?
Arizona Complete Health. I'm sorry. Arizona Complete Health. We recently had a training with them about the statewide crisis line, and we had one a year prior too. So we keep in touch with Bill and Allison. And they also presented at our, we have twice yearly a meeting with all of our nutrition providers. So our Meals on Wheels providers, senior centers, they all come together twice a year at our Flagstaff office. And Arizona Complete Health did a training with them as well on the crisis line. We put flyers in all of our new client packets, and we help the clients if they call us with a crisis. And of course, a crisis is what a crisis is to you. It doesn't matter if we think it's a crisis or not. We will give them a number. We'll stay on the phone with them while they make the call, or we'll call for them if they're unable to or not comfortable doing that at the time. We'll call 911 in emergency situations, provide our clients with resources for services, and then we also provide services and follow up. So I'm going to share with you what our services actually are. So our client services, that's the program that I manage. So these are the home and community-based services to help people age in place longer, so to stay at home longer rather than moving into a facility. So we have our information and referral line. That's our toll-free number. Anyone can call. You don't have to be a client. You don't have to be a senior. You don't have to live in our territory even. Anyone can call if they are looking for resources or referrals. Our information and referral, the people who answer the phone also are our central intake specialists. So they do intakes over the phone for people looking for case management and in-home services. Unfortunately, because the need is so high, we do have a wait list for case management. It has gone down quite a bit, but it's still a significant wait list, unfortunately. And I can't say what the average time is because it varies in the areas, the different areas, and where we're fully staffed or not. So they do a priority screening for that wait list. So we will ask about the ADLs, the activities of daily living. We don't ask specific income, and we don't means test. So your income does not qualify you for services or not, but it may put you at a higher priority. So we ask all those questions, and we take people off the wait list based on how long they've been on and their priority level. Our case managed service is a home visit, and every client will be assigned a case manager who will go to the home for an initial assessment to determine if clients qualify for services. So what we're looking at to see if people qualify, again, it's not income, it's the ADLs. So how much assistance does a person need with activities of daily living, such as walking, getting to the restroom, shopping, transferring, things like that. So we're asking a lot of questions, but basically, what does this activity look like for you? Who helps you, if anyone? If you had help, or do you need, even though if you don't have help, if you don't have a caregiver, do you need that? So we're asking those type of questions. Bathing is another one, and eating. And the services that we provide, the home delivered meals. So most areas have a senior center that does the Meals on Wheels, but our really rural areas that don't, we use a service called Mom's Meals that delivers to their home every 2 weeks. The only drawback to that is that they don't get the daily wellness check, but we call them at least once a week for a wellness check if they're getting those meals. Housekeeping, it's light housekeeping for health and safety. It's not getting down on hands and knees and scrubbing baseboards or, shining floors and things like that. It's vacuuming, making sure the dishes are done, maybe dusting for health and safety. Attendant care it can include housekeeping tasks, but also personal care. So help with bathing, washing hair, maybe putting on lotion, things like that. And respite is for the family caregiver. So respite provides the housekeeping and attendant care services to the care recipient so the caregiver can have a break. And then we have an adult day center. Unfortunately, because it's a fantastic program, there's only one in Prescott and Prescott Valley right now. There is a new one opening in Flagstaff that hopefully will apply to be a contractor with us because it's a great program. It's the most bang for your buck because a person can go all day and have 2 meals provided as part of the service. Susan J. Ream, you may have heard of in Prescott Valley, provides transportation as well, which is huge. All right. So those are our client and home services. Oh, I see a couple things in the chat. Let me look at that. Oops. Okay. I will send a copy of the slides. Next one. Okay. So some of our other programs, we have client services and we have programs. We have a Medicare and benefits counseling program. This is free to anyone. We have 3 phenomenal Medicare benefits counselors. They do not earn commission. They have no vested interest in any program. So they're non-biased, and they provide assistance on Medicare and benefits related issues. They talk to people over the phone. They meet with people in the office. They are able to look things up that I don't have access to help people answer questions that they might have about their benefits. They help with open enrollment. So if you know anyone or you're interested in this service, I really would encourage you to call. Like I said, it's free. It's very valuable. They are up to date on all the new changes and issues that are going on. They're always very busy because it's a confusing time with these services, but please call. And then we have a family caregiver support program. So outside of the respite that we provide, we also have provide support services. So we do have some peer counseling for family caregivers. We have an online program that caregivers can get on and do some micro trainings. So, you know, they don't have a lot of time. So they can go on and do online trainings for things like how to deal maybe with sundowning, or if someone's refusing to take a bath, or, you know, what do we do in these situations? We also have some memory cafes and some activities that the caregivers and the care receivers can go to together, which is really nice because you get to socialize with people going through the same things that you might be. And then educational workshops and support groups. We also have a health and wellness program. And by the way, all of these things are free. There is no cost for anything. So the health and wellness program, their goal is to reduce the impact of chronic diseases and health-related risk factors that may arise with aging. So it's health programs, but it also is that socialization piece. This flyer that you see on the right, the Walking Talking Coffee Club, this is something that they have going on currently in Prescott. They have a group that meets downtown on the square on nice days, otherwise at the mall. But they're also working on getting one of these started up in Flagstaff for people to join together and socialize. They also have other programs, A Matter of Balance, Bingo Size, Tai Chi, which is very popular. They have a Connections project, which is for people who want to learn how to go online in hopes to socialize maybe with their family. So that is, I want to say it's a 10-week course. I could be wrong, but it's a multi-week course where they will train people how to use an iPad or a Chromebook. And if you complete a certain number of classes, you can keep that iPad or Chromebook. So people who maybe have family who live far away and they don't get to see them often, they will teach them how to get online and talk to them over the internet. And we have a long-term care ombudsman who works with the state ombudsman. Ombudsmen are people who advocate for people living in long-term care situations. So they give a voice to people who might not have a voice in a long-term care situation. So maybe someone feels like they're not getting enough attention, they're not being treated fairly. I think common complaints that they hear is somebody is stealing my things, the food is not good, anything like that. A long-term care ombudsman will go into the facility, they'll meet with the client, and they will advocate for what the client wants. One thing that's really important to keep in mind with ombudsmen is they don't do what's best for the client, they do what the client wants. So they're not, you know, putting their opinion or judgment in, they're helping that person have a voice. And they also regularly go into facilities to be available to talk to people, to check in with the administrators, and they also do resident councils. They get help get meetings together so residents in those facilities can meet and talk about issues that they have. Just some other programs that we have that you can call our toll-free number for. We do fund some transportation, but unfortunately it is extremely limited. There is like Change Point up in Show Low, New Horizons here in Prescott Valley. They help with programs like that. We also have a legal aid program, also very limited. They don't do criminal cases or civil suits, but they can help with paperwork. So if somebody's filing paperwork, maybe for like an Altex appeal or a Social Security appeal, they can help with the paperwork. They don't represent people in court, and you do have to qualify. So if someone already has a lawyer, they're not going to qualify for the service. It's people who really need help with it. Here in Yavapai County, we've partnered with Wrapped in Love Diaper Bank, which are phenomenal. Not only do they help us with incontinence products, but they also have period products for people and diapers for children. So that program is for our current clients, or if we have someone on the wait list who can get to our office to pick it up, we can help them out too. And then we do a holiday joy program. This is just a fun thing that we get to do every holiday season. We partner with community organizations in all of our areas to provide gifts to seniors who might not otherwise get a gift. And then I've also included our brochure, which gives a little more information on all of those things that I've talked about. So this will be in the slides that you get. And then my contact is here on the back. If anyone has further questions, our website's on here. You can feel free to email me directly or call me directly. I'm happy to answer questions. And that's my presentation.
So thank you. That was enlightening. I feel a little bit better. It's really wonderful to hear that so many services are being offered. Are you affected by the recent budget cuts? And how severely do you expect that?
So in our fiscal year 25, which started in July 1st, we had the biggest cut, which was not technically a funding cut, but all of the money that we had received for the American Rescue Plan, COVID funding, if you will, went away. So we lost, it was over $1 million out of our budget. So luckily, we have a fantastic director, Brandon Baxter. He saw that coming, and we were able to avoid severe cuts. So we didn't cut anyone from in-home services, but we did have to reduce the number of hours they had in services every month. But over the fiscal year, which just ended in June, we were able to restore all of those. So
very nice.
Yes. We also did have to cut some of the mom's meals, none of the Meals on Wheels, but we were also able to restore those back too. So we're doing okay. We have a wait list for pretty much every service because we just don't have the funding to serve everyone who has a need, unfortunately. We are not taking major cuts this year, but we're not really getting any extra money either. So the need is growing, but the funding is not, which everyone's seeing, unfortunately. So we're not making any cuts to any services, but we're really only able to authorize new clients for services like very incrementally. It would be fantastic if we could authorize everyone who needed it, but we just can't. So that's kind of where we are right now, pretty much flat funded.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Shannon, when it comes to referrals, are you seeing referrals from the behavioral health community, the health homes such as Polaris, Southwest, Spectrum, and then I think reciprocally you're referring when you see folks that you think need their help? Do you have
Yes. So we are seeing referrals. We also get referrals from APS, Adult Protective Services. That one's kind of tricky because they'll refer to us and then we'll go and assess, and then we will call APS because it might be a self-neglect case. So that can be kind of, cyclical, or maybe they need more services than what we can provide, but it doesn't always work out that way. But yes, so when we make referrals to maybe behavioral health, we cannot refer just to one place, but we will give the client, these are maybe 3 different options that you can look into.
Okay, and I know right off the top of my head one person in my community who would benefit from the free consult with the law firm that you mentioned for an Alltech
For legal aid.
information.
Okay.
Legal.
Yeah, please have them call our toll-free number and they'll send a referral to, we have 2 legal aid providers that we work with.
Okay, any more questions for Shannon? All right, well, thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on over to Joella. And Joella, if you would like to provide a PowerPoint, you're welcome to, or if you just want to have discussion, it's your choice. Where you're on mute. Need to unmute. There you
Thank
go.
you.
Okay,
I love mute.
we all do.
Let me see if I can.
So you'll need to ask, there's a thing to ask permission to share your screen.
There it is. Okay.
Looking good.
There it is. Well, first of all, our program, the Center for Service and Volunteerism, is housed in the Behavioral Sciences Department at NAU, and it incorporates all of the AmeriCorps programs that NAU has been offering for some of them for years. Our particular and AmeriCorps Seniors is under this department, but it's just one of a number of programs that we offer. So we'll touch briefly on those others, but I want to focus on our program first. So
Don't flow with the people like going into the office. The first one can be a video chat.
excuse me? Can you see everything okay?
Yes.
Okay. The mission we have is basically enriching lives, strengthening communities through service and volunteerism. And the vision we share is that we have a vibrant, diverse network of individuals and partner agencies making an exceptional impact throughout Arizona, supporting direct service, capacity building, professional development, and innovation. Now, NAU does have programs throughout the state, and that shows you the stars indicate the locations where we have programs. Basically, we're in 9 counties. Not each of the counties has all 3 of the AmeriCorps senior programs, but we have the presence. We are active in those 9 areas. And as you can see, Prescott here is kind of Arizona is large, but West Yavapai is half the size of Yavapai County. We have taken Yavapai County, we've split it in half. We have East Yavapai and West Yavapai. The mountain range, the Mingus Mountain Range, is what determines which program, where the services are coming from. We have 3 programs under AmeriCorps Seniors. We have the Senior Companion Program, which we will focus on today. But we also have the Foster Grandparent Program, where we recruit, train, and place volunteers 55 and older into the school districts. And we have contracts with all of the school districts in the area to be able to have these volunteers go in and serve beside the teacher in the classroom so that they can work with students that are specifically known needing additional support. They're not listed by name, they're not called out in any way, but we just have those students that we know we need to focus on. And those students become the statistical reports for the end of the year to demonstrate that we're doing well in the school districts. The other program, the third program that I operate, is called Retired Senior Volunteer Program, RSVP. And that is a program like we have with our partnership at CASA, what used to be CASA, now known as Prescott Valley Active Adult Center. So at that site, like all senior centers, they have a lot of volunteers involved, but they're not working one-on-one with individuals. They're working for the betterment of the program, the expansion of the program, the service to the community at large. So that's specific. RSVP is specific for those types of programs, which would include Habitat for Humanity, Goodwill, could be any type of social group that gets together that has a specific mission that's meeting a need in the community or addressing a need in the community. We can partner with those people to help them maybe build capacity within their organization by maybe being able to provide resources that they need, that they're actually spending money on, that we can provide, so it frees up some money for them to use in their programs, redirect for better expansion of their programs. So now let's go back to, let's see, I want to go here. This is the coming from the 2004 fiscal year annual report. That's the year that ended it ended June 30th of 2024. And during that year, starting June or July 1st of 2003 through to June 30th, 2004, we were in 9 counties. We had 248 partner sites. These are officially recognized partner sites that have an active, what we call memorandum of understanding with our program. These could be government agencies, they can be individual nonprofits, they can just need to be, meeting our guidelines to be a partner. So we have 248 partner sites, and I'm going to slip down here. Of that, we had recruited, trained, and placed working in the communities for those 248 partner agencies, 2,316 volunteers. And with those volunteers, utilize them, assigning them within their category in the communities, we had over 63,000 people that were served. That would be in all our programs. And of that it represented 266,541 volunteer hours that we were able to report. So let's talk a little bit about the history. And this is NAU's history. First of all, I should mention AmeriCorps is funded through the congressional budget. So each year, Congress decides if we're going to get funded, how much we're going to be funded. That money is sent to a department called the CNCS, Corporation for National and Community Service, which has been rebranded to AmeriCorps. So you've heard about AmeriCorps in the news quite a bit when we talk about DOGE. And yes, we had a number of programs at NAU that actually were impacted with DOGE. Our environmental programs were cut. Our community, some of our veterans programs were impacted. But basically, when you look at the total number of programs, I wish I had, I don't have all of the programs that are listed under AmeriCorps, but there was a teacher support program where we were assisting with teachers training to build capacity with the education process. That program was kind of made, it's gone. So, but the key here is when we're talking about AmeriCorps, we're not talking about necessarily AmeriCorps seniors, because AmeriCorps seniors represents these three programs: foster grandparent, senior companion, and RSVP. So in 1965, we started getting the grants from the federal government to run the foster grandparent program. Then in 68, we added the senior companion program, and those actually started here in Yavapai County in those years. And then in 1969, we added RSVP. One of the things that we deal with is that we have to recruit and train volunteers while we're also developing referral opportunities, MOUs, memorandums of understanding with partner agencies. They kind of go hand in hand. So that gets to be a little challenging sometimes. Okay, we're back to our AmeriCorps Seniors programs. So far, with the funding, we have not been impacted by the federal funding. We are completing our third year of the contracts or grants from the federal government are 3-year cycles. So we are now in the third year, last year, of the current grant for our foster grandparent and senior companion programs. The RSVP program earlier this year was renewed for an additional 3 years. So now with foster grandparent and senior companion, we're anticipating we're going to have some challenges coming up this next year. We want to get renewed. They're moving a lot of funding from the federal level to the state level. That is not going to be a problem as far as we're concerned, because we do have support from other funding agencies at the state level. But it is going to create some interesting challenges for us as we go forward.
What about the state funding? Because there's cuts all over the place. So
Yeah, we weren't impacted because the majority of our funding came from the federal government.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
In fact, we have received notification that two of our state funding sources, when we renewed this year, we got 100% of what we requested. So that looks pretty good for us. I think our next challenge is probably going to be with the renewal of the foster grandparent and senior companion programs once for the next 3-year term, which would start July 1st of 2026. That's where I think we're headed right now. Seems to be okay right at the moment for this year's funding. So let's talk about the Senior Companion Program because that is where we're dealing with the seniors. And they don't have to be seniors. They have to be 18 and over. But traditionally, the seniors are our target audience. I should mention before I forget that we do offer respite support too, and that would be for the full spectrum from 18 through 100, whatever year they're still surviving. So that's an option we have. But we do not do medical. We do not do heavy cleaning or housekeeping. Our total focus with our Senior Companion Program is to dispel isolation and to keep people connected to the community and able to live in their own homes as long as necessary, or as long as they can, actually. So we have this program designed so that we have volunteers that we match up with clients that are referred to us. And those volunteers on a weekly basis spend anywhere from 2 to 4 hours with a client that they've been matched with. And it's an ongoing relationship. It's something that isn't just we provide transportation for that client. We actually try to be their friend, to develop that relationship, to help them deal with depression, to help them with the isolation, to get them out, enjoying the community, shopping, going to lunch, maybe somewhere, maybe the movies, but actively have them interacting with the environment and the community. Those volunteers do not clean up or do anything to support family members. If you have a client in a home and there's family coming and going, visiting, whatever, we do not work with that. We focus our full attention on the client. And I wanted to mention, we were talking a minute ago, and this Shannon brought up the part about the housing, and I just want to jump to that for a minute because my previous job in Phoenix, working with as a property manager, was with a company in Long Beach, California, called Retirement Housing Foundation. Now, the reason that's important and can be beneficial to our community is that at the time I was working with them, and I was with them 13 years, they would go into a community if there was land that was being donated to their program, they would go in and take care of the development and building of a HUD subsidized facility. And they were number 2 in the country across the United States for providing the HUD housing programs. They had a number of different ones, but the one I was involved with was for mobility and or sensory impaired. And we dealt a lot with ULTEC and all those issues. I could go on for days on that subject. But keep in mind, Retirement Housing Foundation, Long Beach, California, could possibly be a resource to help develop some additional housing if there is a benefactor that has land that wants to donate it. They will then come in, do the construction, do the financing, everything just to build that complex. And we had 40 units in the one that I managed, and 40 units was standard, but it's something to consider. Okay.
Joella, that's great. We certainly need housing. We'd like to see that program over here. We have a question in chat. How does someone refer a client for the NAU Senior Companion Program? How do they refer to you?
Okay. There's 2 ways. Since COVID, we have relaxed the requirement and restructured our program a little too. With the loss of the NACOG contract and loss of that connection, we have opened it to the community. So if you have someone that you believe might benefit from our services, then you can contact me directly. And I will then go out, do an assessment, meet with the individual, see what we can do to be able to help them. Not all can we help. Obviously, we have a waiting list also, but it is our fervent goal and mission to be able to do something. Maybe it's another type of referral, but we want to help as many as we can. And of course, our capacity is controlled by the number of volunteers that we can recruit, train, and keep on board serving clients. And the traditional volunteer, because we do, 2 to 4 hours a week, if they're doing 3 or 4 clients, that's a heavy load. That's asking a lot for them. So, but they can contact me especially if they're in Chino, Prescott Valley. I'm having difficulty getting services east to Cordis Junction. That's an area that we really need some people interested in volunteering and supporting.
So that kind of goes into my question. I live in Cherry, not Old Cherry, but Cherry up on Mingus Mountain. And, we don't have Meal on Wheels. We don't, we don't even have geomapping so emergency services can get up here. So,
yes.
So the key, what you're saying is to get volunteers from our community.
That's the best way. If you know someone that's really interested in participating in the program, wanting to volunteer, then we can use that person to help serve that community and those
So we can't blame it on your program. It's the onus is on us. So, and I like that. I like the clarity, and I'm joking. So like Meal on Wheels, would you meet someone like on 169, or would the person have to go all the way into Prescott, or how does that work?
With what? With Meals on Wheels?
Any of the programs. I mean,
yeah, we don't provide Meals on Wheels.
Right.
We work with the center. Okay. as far as our program, that's the key to getting the support in these outlying regions.
Okay.
It's identify someone who says, hey, I would like to give back to the community. I would like to help my seniors in this area. So they become part of our program. We train them. We pay for all of the expense to get them. They have to go through the the fingerprinting. They need a background credit criminal check. We do 20 hours of training with them on what they can do, what they can't do, the paperwork and everything to be a volunteer. And that takes about 45 to 60 days to complete all of that. Then if they are income eligible, that means if their household income does not exceed 20 or 200% of the local poverty level, which for one person right now is about $35,000. If their income does not exceed that, then they are qualified to be eligible for a stipend. In either case, they would get mileage reimbursement. And if they get the stipend and they're eligible for that, there's a whole bunch of benefits that open up for them, including paid holidays, paid vacation, let's see, insurance. There's additional insurance, which all of the volunteers get, supplemental insurance. So there's just a lot of things that, plus the ongoing training that they're required to attend every month, 2 hours, and they get reimbursed for that. They get paid for that. So, if you know someone that might be in that situation and they want to give back, this is the way to do it. And that's the only way I'm going to be able to expand. I was fortunate here a few months ago, or a few months, I wish it was years, a couple years ago, I had a great connection in Black Canyon City. And we were able to start supporting volunteers and clients in that area. But that key person ended up moving to South Carolina. So when that happened, it collapsed around us. There was nothing we could do because we keep our volunteers traditionally as close to their home base as possible to keep the costs down. So I can do well by helping people in Chino, Prescott Valley. Sometimes they're on a waiting list for a while, but eventually we can kind of get them taken care of. But beyond that, I'm having difficulty. Question? Okay, and this screen here shows basically what I was talking about with the senior companion volunteer. They're going to help in the home or the assisted living. We can go into assisted living facilities because basically that's their home. But we cannot go to nursing homes. They are totally out now. But we can work with assisted living. We can work in the low-income housing. That's their home. If they're living in their own home, obviously that qualifies them. So in addition to providing that 2 to 4 hours a week, we do it on a schedule so that the client knows when to expect the volunteer. They also know that during that time they can schedule their doctor appointments and appointments that need to be scheduled that don't require just going to the grocery store or to the pharmacy. So that's another benefit there. One of our key partners right now is Polera Health. And we've started working with them about 5, 6 months ago. And we are working with their blind low vision group. We have their clients on board too that need transportation so that they know they can get to those support group meetings that are held twice a month. And then it also gives them the same resources that our other clients receive, to get out in the community. We're still focusing on that. We're also working with those that are hearing impaired, and trying to get some additional support for them through Polera. Then Polera has a peer support group, which we are directly connected with, and we'll be expanding on that service as we go forward.
Could you, this is music to our ears. Could you share, I guess you're working with Tina?
Dina, yeah,
Dina.
Deanna.
Oh, Deanna. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll be participating in the art show that's coming up.
I don't know. She carries our brochures to the event she goes to, and we
Okay.
carry hers.
I guess what I'm asking is, you said participating in their peer group. I just wondered what plans you had and what kind of partnerships.
Well, the partnership is they don't want to be involved in case management, but they have clients and people that come to them for resources that they want to help. So we become kind of the person, the group that steps in, and they do refer those clients to us, and we do the case management and run it as part of our program that way.
Okay, and is this all ages?
It can be 18 and above. Yes.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Usually, we don't focus or we don't talk a lot about being able to assist those between the 18 and the seniors, but we do have a couple of clients that, have some mental issues, but they're not severe enough that they're restricted in where they go and how they live. So we have those clients that we're bringing on board too. So
this is very exciting because we've been working with Tamara, who is the CEO of Polera, and we strongly feel that we need to develop partnerships as we're moving forward because we cannot sustain our communities with the budget cuts. And this is just a wonderful example of that happening.
Yeah, this was kind of a vision that I had. And, after that mental health conference, that was so reassuring to me that we are on the right path. And here in we're probably getting close to that time where I should share with you some of these things that our clients run into or our volunteers run into serving their clients, which are definitely related to mental health issues that they're helping people with. And you're right, we cannot survive as a community unless we start doing more partnering. And I've been here in this area for 53 years. And I know there's a lot of territorialism with programs.
Yes, yes.
I've been trying to dispel that. And our program is just one of those where there's no downside. It's a win-win. So.
Thank you.
Joella, I appreciate all the great information you've been providing. We're getting down to where we have a little bit of time left. I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Shannon. Obviously, you're interacting with Polera. Do you have any collaboration, referral back and forth with Southwest Behavioral Health or Spectrum that are also and what about the Peer and Family Run, if you're familiar with that, Hope Inc. In Prescott and Prescott area?
You know, I always thought that when you're talking about mental health and those issues, that was a separate area, a separate discussion. But after the conference, it all came together, and I said,
Yeah.
no, we are all in this together.
Yes.
And every one of us can contribute to improving mental health. And I know you're running short on time, so I'm not going to go through a lot of these, but let me give you a couple of examples of situations that my volunteers report to me while dealing with their clients that I think demonstrates the impact that we can have as a program with the mental health issues. Here's the first one is I have a client that is visually impaired, but it doesn't stop us from doing things together and having adventures. She likes going out on drives. We visited the home where she raised her family, a drive to see the leaves turn color, watch people fish in the local lakes. We have been on roads that were dead ends or under construction. We are always exploring, and just look at these as adventures. We have missed turns and road signs because we were so busy talking. Talk about the blind leading the blind. For all these times, she has always expressed her thanks for a good time. This is so uplifting to me when I see this stuff coming in. This one is especially touching, and I'll close on this one. This is a gentleman that's working with another gentleman who has since passed, I might say. I have a client who has had 2 strokes that have left him in feelings of confusion, depression, anger, and hopelessness. For the first several months working with this client, I didn't know how he felt about my visiting him, or if he even liked me. Then, out of the blue, one day he said, "You're a good volunteer. You have a nice personality, good sense of humor, and you are polite to everyone, and even put up with my swearing." That made his day. So see, the client benefits, the volunteer benefits. It's a win-win. And then the same client, on another occasion after that, the volunteer asked him if he would like a hug, and he said yes. So after we hugged, I saw he had tears in his eyes as he said, "This is the first time anyone has hugged me in a long time."
That's beautiful.
Just
Thank you so much. And isolation is literally can be a killer. So what I'd
yes,
like to ask you and Shannon is if you have a flyer that you'd like me to send out to the coalition membership that lets them know how to get a hold of you or a little bit. Shannon, I think you showed a flyer that had some stuff. I'd be glad to send that out to the membership because I think a lot of our folks aren't familiar with who you are, what you do, and how to contact you. So this is where the partnership becomes a win-win. And as we see funding cuts across the board for behavioral health and social services, we all need to work together to fill the gaps and prevent people from falling through the cracks.
yes, definitely.
I'd like to know if anybody has a question briefly for either Shannon or Joella.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. Hang on.
We still hear you and we see you.
That's good.
Okay, any questions from folks attending today? Not seeing anything come up in chat. All right, then, Kathy, if you'd like to.
Oh, yes, I would just been waiting to just say a little something. I'm a person with a serious mental illness and have been very involved in our community, but I'm also 75, verging 76. And so I have been very worried as I go into, this new domain of living, what would be out there. And I really feel reassured. I feel good that these things are going on. I want to get more involved. You guys have done a wonderful job. And I really, really appreciate your speaking and the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.